All right, everyone. This is the very first episode of the Controller Collective podcast. My name's Jarek, and I'm here with two incredible co-hosts. Please introduce yourselves.
I'll go first. My name's Peyton Caster. Um, I'm happy to be here at the Controller Collective for our very first episode.
Hello, I'm Talon Wilterdink. I am also extremely excited to be here.
You can tell the energy is really coming in late at night, which we're definitely not
Oh,
recording this late at
100%.
night. Okay, so for this first episode, I figured what a better way to start it than by being 6 weeks late to the Switch 2 direct or the Switch 2 reveal trailer and give our thoughts on it.
Yeah,
Sounds like a great
Maybe we
idea.
sounds like
should
a good idea.
maybe we
Yeah.
should give a little background. So we all have owned a Switch before, but have used it to varying levels. I'd say I've probably used it the most, but yeah, can you guys just give your thoughts on the Switch and how what you've used it for, how often you use it?
So I use my Switch like pretty often, 'cause like for a long time it was pretty much my only console. So anything my laptop couldn't run, I'd run it on my Switch, and it really filled a good role in my game loadout because of handheld mode. I use exclusively pretty much in handheld mode because my parents, when I officially originally had my Switch, I was living with my parents and they were always on the TV, so I just couldn't dock it. So I even till this day I just am pretty much exclusively a handheld user of it. So that's where a lot of my hours come in.
Yeah, I mostly used my Switch to play Rocket League and Smash Bros, although I haven't really played either in a very long time on the Switch. Um, yeah,
We should
my
also mention that you don't have a Switch right now with you.
yes, that is also true. I do not have access to a Switch right now. Um, yeah,
Ooh.
Yeah, kind of in the same boat as Peyton, where the Switch was my only real console for a while. I recently did get an Xbox though, so that's kind of been what I've been using to play more recent, kind of graphically intensive games that don't come to the Switch.
Yeah, for sure.
So with that, let's jump into the trailer. What were your guys' thoughts watching the trailer? Because you just rewatched it like recently.
oh my god,
Yeah, like
Switch 2!
You're a bit late on that.
I I was pretty excited when it came out, but like people in the comments pointed out and stuff, we had like all the leaks and Nintendo's lawyers before the trailer came out, and but I was still excited to see the trailer, and overall my thoughts are positive. Like you can really see, in my opinion, you can really see um them like taking design cues from like a lot of complaints about the Switch 1, like a dock that doesn't scratch the screen and upscaling the Joy-Cons a bit because you can see them grow in like um the little like because they like have the Switch 1 and then
Yeah,
it like
yeah.
flips into the yeah, you know what I'm yapping about.
Yeah,
So
basically for
um
anyone that hasn't watched the trailer, it's just a it shows the Switch 1 and then it gets bigger. And that's basically the Switch 2.
yeah. And like I remember when people were first reviewing the Switch, and like there were so many people being like, I have such big thumbs or I have such big hands, and then the Switch just isn't big enough. So it seems like they're really like when they were considering the design of the Switch 2, they were taking a lot of that into consideration, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder if they'll still have the option to like customize the joysticks. Let's say people like the tiny joysticks on Joy-Cons and Pro controllers from the Switch 1. Will they still be able to use those kinds of joysticks with the Switch 2? I wonder.
So that was actually something I had in my notes is do you think the controllers are going to be backwards compatible with the new Switch? Do you think you're going to be able to use your Switch 1 Joy-Cons on the Switch 2? Because we don't actually know a lot about the Switch 2 until April.
Yeah. Do the Switch One's Joy-Cons like connect through Bluetooth or what's the connection?
Yeah, they are Bluetooth, so I think it would make sense if you could use your Switch 1 Joy-Cons, but there's always a chance that you can't.
Yeah, yeah. I so if it's a Bluetooth connection, like there's a chance that you could, but I wonder if they would allow you to do that.
I hope so, because I don't. My main hope is for the Pro Controller. I don't really want to buy a new Pro Controller exclusively for the Switch 2.
Yeah, that's like even the Switch Pro controller is ridiculous price. I'll be the first to admit
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like $60 or whatever. Like
No,
that's
more than that. I think
ridiculous.
it's, is it 60? I
Isn't it
don't,
69?
I think it's like, yeah, $70 for a Pro Controller.
Yeah, I mean, I
And I,
So
think that the Pro controllers almost definitely will be backwards compatible. I'm not so convinced that the Joy-Cons will be. I think they probably will be for a lot of games that don't use motion controls or any of that stuff, but I think games that specifically use, like, they showcased the new uh, whatever that was feature with the Joy Cons. I think any games that'll need that feature will not be able to be played with the old Joy Cons.
yeah, that also leads into another point is they said certain Switch games will not be backwards compatible. And to me, I take that to mean like games like Nintendo Labo or Ring Fit Adventure that heavily rely on the old Joy-Cons, those won't be playable on Switch 2.
yeah, that would make sense. And like not just taking a few steps back into the Joy Cons, I think um we should discuss like the elephant in the room, which is the drift. Will the drift still be a problem on Switch too, with the new Joy Cons?
I mean, obviously, I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, I think we obviously don't want the drift to come back, but I'm just curious to know like what steps Nintendo are taking to try and prevent the drift now. But I don't know. We don't know because we have so little information on the Switch 2 right now.
If I had to guess, I'm guessing it'll be better, but that stick drift will still be a problem that happens after a couple years. Because I feel like stick drift itself is just kind of a planned obsolescence thing where they're trying to get you to buy Joy-Cons on repeat. Um, and I think they'll just make it a longer cycle with the Switch 2 since people found out very quickly that the sticks were drifting way too much.
Well, here's the thing
Yeah,
with stick drift is it's not inherently just a Joy-Con problem. I've heard of plenty of PS5 controllers having issues with stick drift as well. So I don't know if
yeah, and
that's
like
something the gaming industry as a whole has to fix, but they're not kind of, looking into fixing that or
yeah, and like I've played with um like beat up Xbox controllers who have stick drift too. So it could like I think it was just like more noticeable, like it was happening faster than it should have been, like Talon was saying with Joy Cons.
Yeah, I just think it was worse than almost every other kind of controller out there. And I mean, I haven't
the
ever had
Joy-Con.
issues with drift on a Pro controller. It's only seemed to happen on Joy-Cons for the most part.
Okay, I have had my first Pro controller that I had since the Switch came out did start to drift last year, and I did have to invest in a new one. But since I play competitive Smash Bros, which uses a lot of, flicking the sticks back and forth, that could also just be me, like being a little too rough with the controller potentially. So
Hmm.
I haven't seen a wide,
And
you know, occurrence of stick drift on the Pro controllers.
yeah, and like well, this is like like uh just like a personal note, but I also have a friend on the Splatoon esports team here, who their pro controller is starting to drift too. But you know, there's a lot of factors for like what Jarek was saying for how that could happen.
Okay, so moving on, well, kind of staying on the Joy Cons, we've heard a lot of claims about lacks of creativity in their design, and I know Peyton is a part of this camp. So, do you want to go into that?
What lacks of creative? What?
Well, you've complained to me in the past that they're not colorful.
Oh, I think I did bring that up. I like no, like let me clarify that I do like the style. I think it actually looks really nice that like black with a pop of color like underneath the joysticks and on the sidebars. But it does feel like the Switch like went out of its high school phase and went to college, if you know what I'm saying, a little bit. But I like also if we know anything about Nintendo and like the game industry in general, there will probably be like a wide variety of other Joy Cons, I'm sure. But as it stands, it does seem like a sleek kind of like a less fun design, a little bit like a more mature design for sure.
I think kind of going
Um,
along with that, they didn't. If they made the controllers like fully red, fully blue, they'd just be regular Joy Cons, and it'd be
that's
hard to
100%
differ.
true.
They'd be hard to differentiate them, I think.
Yeah, because the only difference would be I think there's like some like new looking uh button placement of and like sensors and stuff, but other than that, it would just look like a bigger um Joy-Con, like you said.
Last thing I kind of wanted to talk about with the Joy Cons is the big new feature, the mouse mode.
Yeah, the much rumored mouse mode.
I don't know if it's much of a rumor at this point. I think it's been pretty much confirmed by the trailer and the patents that have come out.
Oh, I haven't heard about the patents.
Yeah, I think it was
But
more of
like
a
I
recent
remember
thing.
you telling me about like they look like mice when they put them on like the wrist holder things and then they slide around, they look like
Yeah, you can
mice with
see that in the
tails.
trailer. They slide around on their sides.
Which
I'm
is
not
interesting.
I'm not 100% certain on what the point of that is.
So I
Um
actually want
like
to bring up an interesting uh, thing that might become an issue for more competitive games, I guess. If mouse mode is 100% a thing, it might make the Switch like an unfair advantage in console lobbies for say FPS games. I'll use the example of Overwatch because it's the game I'm most comfortable with. If players are able to use a Switch controller in the form of a mouse, not only is that giving them an advantage against other controller players who are on maybe Xbox or PlayStation, it also might make it more easy for them to do things like Zim, which is basically using a normal mouse and having those inputs be disguised as normal controller inputs.
Can you not use a mouse on a like an Xbox console?
You
I'm not very
can,
familiar with
but
competitive games on
it's
consoles.
generally considered cheating because then you're also getting the benefits of aim assist that are given to controller players because it can't recognize the difference.
mm, I will say I like looking at the just like looking at how the Joy-Cons would be down in the trailer here. Um it like I don't know how easy it would be to hit inputs other than like shoulder buttons. Um,
I think the shoulder buttons is like primarily what it would be, like a left click and a right click.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um,
Like,
and
okay.
just like coming from a Splatoon player's perspective, this would like change the game in comp because um, vast majority of comp players use motion controls because it gives way more accuracy and quickness, and you can do flicks easier than stick. Um, and to be able to use basically a mouse for Splat would be like crazy from a Splat like accuracy and speed and stuff like that would go through the roof in
Well, yeah,
comp.
because that's like Nintendo's. That's their shooter game.
Yeah, yeah. It would be very interesting to see like how movements and stuff like that change in Splat if they implement this mouse feature into games, which I assume they will.
Thinking about it like more from a single player perspective, I don't know what games would use a mouse. Like maybe Metroid Prime 4 that's coming out, but because that's like an FPS game.
Oh yeah, for sure. I could see Metroid Prime using it, but other than that, like unless they like port Call of Duty games and shit, like
So I think it can be used for like a lot of games. Like think of Breath of the Wild, for example. If you're able to use a Joy-Con like a mouse to look around instead of having to control the left and right stick at the same time, because I know like my mom plays Zelda games on the Switch, and I know she has troubles with like using both joysticks at the same time to look around, so maybe that might appeal to that demographic as well.
I can believe that, but also at the same time, if you're using the Joy-Con on its side, well, actually, okay, I have a Joy. I have to commit. I have to admit, I have a Joy-Con next to me that I'm like, I have it in the mouse position that they show. You can actually still hit the face buttons pretty easily because it's
next to me, so I'm gonna try this out as well. Oh,
sorry,
you're right.
Talon.
It's
But
pretty
like,
easy to hit like
imagine the extra buttons on the like left side of a mouse that you get like from a gaming mouse.
yeah,
It's pretty easy to hit like the X, Y, A, B. So I can actually see this
yeah,
working like very well
Here,
now that I'm actually doing it.
my biggest concern would be it means if you want to play with the mouse feature, you need to have like a hard surface in front of you, which I don't know how many
yeah. That
people generally do. Like, I just am usually sitting on a couch, and it would feel really awkward to have my hand, like, way down at my leg level to use the mouse.
yeah, and that was one of the things I was actually thinking about earlier. Is like just like as like cool the idea is like um I just wonder like how like even in handheld like I'm gonna like be able to like pull it off, like have a hard like like exactly what Talon was saying, like
Like
have a
how
hard
it's not going to be
face in
very
front of me.
practical for most people.
Yeah.
Um, so I've seen online. This isn't the first time Nintendo's released a mouse. If you know, they released the
Yeah,
SNES
baby.
mouse with Mario Paint, and I believe that came with like a hard piece of plastic that you would set on your lap that you would use your mouse on. So maybe
Yeah,
they could
and
do something like that, but
I
is
I
like
was I could foresee that, yeah.
even that is kind of
Do you think they
uncomfortable.
do you think they're gonna bring back Mario Paint?
They could. I mean, it could even work like the mouse could even work really well in like Mario Maker if they make a new Mario Maker.
Oh yeah, yeah. If they make like a Mario Maker 3, I could see the mouse being really helpful in that.
Because a lot of people complained about how clunky it felt to make levels on the Switch version. Because you don't
Hmm.
have the gamepad if you want to make levels on the TV.
Yeah. Um, it's a really interesting concept. Uh,
We'll definitely have to see like what they do with it.
yeah. Stay tuned for the special episode in April.
Oh, don't tease it yet. Okay, so moving on to another part. Well, is there anything you that specifically jumped out to either of you two that you want to bring up?
um, a little bit, yeah. We could talk about. Um, I was considering the stand because the stand on like the standard Switch has always been like pretty useless.
Oh yeah, mine broke off like within the first
Yeah,
year, and I lost it. So
I've
my Switch One just does not have a stand.
I was gonna say like a lot of people I've met like have like lost it or it broke and like it's not useful. It really isn't. But I heard I can't speak to this, but I think you can, Jarek, because you have an OLED. I heard they fixed the stand on the OLED.
Yes, the Switch OLED stand is way better because I don't even know if the regular Switch stand was like meant to be a stand. It's more so a cover for the SD card.
Yeah. Um so it's like looking in the trailer here is this seems pretty reminiscent, at least in my memory, of like the OLED stand. So I think this stand's going to be way more useful.
Something very funny that I've seen a lot of people bring up in the trailer. They show the Switch going all the way down on the stand, and it's like, who is gonna play like that?
Yeah. Um.
Like
Well.
I'm sitting here at my desk, I'm looking straight down at my Switch. Why wouldn't I just lean back? It's just a weird
Yeah.
thing to emphasize.
Or like, why would you even go through the effort of popping the stand out? Just lay it flat.
Um,
Well.
Obviously there's a
Did
few like
anything?
okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. Did anything pop out to you, Talon?
Um, not anything in particular. No.
There's a lot of minor things they showed off in the trailer. Like there's a new USB-C port on the top of the Switch. I'm guessing
Yeah.
that's just to satiate the people who are like, "Oh, I can't charge my Switch if I'm have it on the stand."
Yeah. I going we're going back a bit again in conversation, but I totally forgot that we should talk about the new way Joy-Cons connect to the Switch
Oh,
and their
true.
holder.
The magnets.
Yeah, just like I have the trailer up and I've been looking through it and I just realized like we haven't been talking about that at all. And I've actually heard a lot from like close friends in the Splat team, a lot of people kind of casting doubt on the magnet system, thinking that it's gonna like fail day one. And I'm just curious what you two think about that sentiment.
I mean, surely they've like quality tested this, right? They wouldn't show this off
Yeah,
as their
like
main new feature if they hadn't tested it. I've
like
also seen a lot of people thinking, "Oh, that pin there that kind of connects it is going to break." It's not going to break.
It
It's
might
sunk
break.
into the
yeah,
console. Well, okay, it's going to break if you make it break.
yeah. Do you think we're gonna have like the problem? I don't remember you guys remember this in the early days of Switch One, but like some like I guess younger Switch players we could say were like taking the right Joy-Con and flipping it and trying to put it on the left side and it like broke their Joy-Cons doing that. I
Is this a
wonder if
self-report?
this no, I didn't do that. I just remember there being a lot of reports of that, and I wonder if the magnet system would would shoot like prevent that from happening.
Probably. I've seen people saying, "Oh, you can flip the switch upside down and connect the magnets that way." Also, not
It's
sure what
true.
that would do, but you can do it
Do you think we'd like be able to connect Switch controllers to like your fridge?
because they're magnets. Ah, maybe.
Yeah.
I doubt they're like. I don't know. I don't know how like magnet controllers work. to be honest. Kind of. So we've gone over a lot of like the hardware stuff, but now kind of moving on to the software. Obviously, we got the big reveal of Mario Kart 9. Any thoughts on that?
Oh yeah.
Or potentially
Um.
Mario Kart 10 if you're a Mario Kart Tour fan.
um. Well. Uh. Um. Baby Park. That's all I have to say.
No, screw Baby Park. I hate that map.
Best
20,
map.
20 what is it, like 24 player baby cart or whatever? How many spots did they say there was on the track?
Well, they didn't say it, but they show that there are 24 starting lines. So that's like the
Yeah,
first big change is 24 racers.
24 racers on baby park. That would just be chaotic. But obviously that was like the meme right after the trailer, so. And like
Um,
that's all we've seen. We also saw Mario Wonder playing on the Switch to prove that it's going to be backwards compatible.
yeah, which I mean everyone knew. Nintendo tweeted out that the Switch 2 would be backwards compatible before like a couple months before the trailer came out. So
Yeah, and I think that's such a good thing for the Switch 2 because in the early days of Switch 1, people were going stir crazy, man. Like there were not enough games
yeah,
at
I
launch.
remember the Switch 2 with the Switch 1 launch. You had obviously for me because I was a kid when it came out. That feels weird to say, but it's true.
Yeah.
I only needed Breath of the Wild, and that held me over until what came out first? Mario Kart or Arms? I don't even remember.
I think it was Arms, but don't
Okay.
quote me.
I got both of them, so
Um,
Arms 2 for
yeah,
Switch. Talon?
I
Arms
wish.
2.
It was such a good game.
Arms 2.
I feel like we're like
I
two
feel
of the only people that like Arms.
I was gonna say like Arms came out and there was like nothing else on Switch, so everyone was playing it. And then the minute like Smash came out, no one played Arms.
Arms was a fun like concept, but they didn't do enough with it. They added a couple new characters, and that's it.
Yeah. Um.
I also feel like
So
maybe just the gameplay loop was a little too simple because it's just grab, block, punch. And sure, there's variations on how it works with different arms, but it's generally the same. And it's
yeah, I think
just a
they really wanted
defensive
to focus on
stalemate.
that triangle aspect.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too defensive heavy for most people.
Yeah. I keep coming back to the Joy Cons here because I'm looking at the trailer this whole time, and I just noticed there's like an extra button underneath the
Yes,
home button.
the C button, the fabled C button. They have not shown the use of.
Do you think that has anything to do with like I heard some rumors about like what was it, Miiverse coming back?
Oh, maybe it's like a share button, but they already have the capture button, so I don't know why they would need a share button.
Yeah, I
Like
wonder what it could be for.
the Xbox controller has a share button, but it doesn't have it. That's
Yeah,
like its screenshot button.
it's interesting.
I don't think we'll
But
really know anything about that button until April 2nd.
yeah, I'm sure they'll go over it. But like going back to software, I guess really all we have to go off of is Mario Kart and Mario Kart 8 was like the best selling game on Switch, right? So like they've got a lot to live up to.
I think that's why they wanted to launch Mario Kart 9 with this, or yeah, they'll launch the Switch 2 with Mario Kart 9 because it's like, okay, I want the new Mario Kart, but it's only on Switch 2. I gotta get the
Yeah,
Switch
yeah.
2. One thing I like about this new Mario Kart 9 is that it's super different from Mario Kart 8 because speaking for me personally, even though I love Mario Kart 8, it's been like almost 10 years. I'm kind of sick of it.
Yeah, because they just like instead of making a new Mario Kart, they just like remastered it and put it on Switch.
And I mean, fair enough. It sold super well.
Yeah, it was like I think it was even one of the best sellers on the Wii U as well.
I think it was the best seller on the Wii U. Maybe Smash Bros. Was. Don't know
Yeah,
enough
because I
about the
was gonna
Wii
say
U
a
to
lot
tell
of
you.
people, just like GameCube, a lot of people got Wii U just to like play Smash.
Speaking of Smash, a lot of people think a new Smash is coming this year, and I think they're crazy.
I think they're crazy. Um, One of the things that I think is so strange about the idea of a new Smash, like I know a new Smash is gonna happen, but I feel like so much of the theme of Ultimate is like this is the final Smash. Everyone's here, this is the ultimate Smash experience and stuff like that. So it's like this weird concept for me that they're going to create another game when Ultimate kind of feels like the end in a way, at least in the way they promoted it and like the theme of the game.
Yeah, like for me, what's going to be exciting about a new Smash Bros? Like aside from the competitive perspective, which is a very small portion of the Smash community, what's going to be exciting about it? They've already like Ultimate already had a lot of like fan requested characters.
Yeah. Like all of the next like recommend like fan requested characters for Smash like most popular are like stretches, like really big stretches.
Yeah, Town, what do you think about a new Smash?
I think it's not going to happen this year, and quite frankly, I'm not even convinced there will be another at all. I think that Smash Ultimate might just be the end of the series because I know, um, what is it, Sakurai.
Yeah,
He,
Sakurai.
yeah, he said that that was the last Smash he was going to be working on, and I feel like if there is another Smash game, it probably won't be the same kind of feeling as the other Smash games. Because at a certain point, you just gotta stop um, with
Yeah, like
anything.
you hit a cap eventually.
Exactly. Like, there's already.
I
Well,
think
you
they
say that, but Street Fighter is still going on.
Street Fighter's kind of different though. I mean, I don't
Oh,
know a lot about Street Fighter, but
Yeah, like, I
that's
would
like a more of a
I'm
say.
just saying.
hardcore fighting game. First and foremost, Sakurai says Smash is a party game.
Yeah, and.
That's true, and I agree with him. I just think like it makes Nintendo so much money. It's not gonna like even though like I was saying, Ultimate had this feeling of like being the last Smash. I think Nintendo's probably gonna make a new Smash. I will predict though, maybe they won't make a new one for two, and they'll just like remaster Ultimate, but maybe not.
See, I also think it's important to consider the difference between Smash and Street Fighter, where it's like the characters in Smash are all like characters from games that were either popular or significant around the time they got implemented into the game. For the most part, I'm not saying all of them are, but most of them had some sort of impact that the characters were added. So I feel like as more and more time goes on, a lot of the characters in the Smash Bros. Roster are just destined to be forgotten for their original game and only remembered in Smash. So it's like if you do keep making Smash games, do you just cut out a bunch of the roster that's not relevant anymore? Or what do you
Yeah,
do
like a
with that?
character like Byleth, nobody's gonna remember. Like most of the people who play Smash already don't know who Byleth is,
Right. And that goes
and I
literally,
feel
well,
like
for me, like half the roster, I couldn't tell you what game they're from.
yeah,
It
I feel like
says
Smash like if they keep making it, will it just turn into an advertisement? Because that's like already kind of what it felt like. for
Hmm.
some of
Yeah.
the Ultimate characters.
Yeah, I can see your guys' points for sure.
I do think they could. I do agree with you though that they probably could remake Ultimate and sell that on the Switch too.
Yeah. Well, hmm. Would they though? Because backwards compatible.
Um, they could. I mean, if you look at
Yeah, they
Sony,
could.
The Last of Us is backwards compatible on PS5, but they remade that.
That's it's true.
Kind of sticking with Sakurai. I don't know. I doubt either of you guys watched his Masahiro Sakurai creating games series on YouTube, because like even I
I
didn't
heard
watch
about it.
past the first couple episodes, but in the last episode he revealed that he was working on a new project that he said should be announced soon. So maybe we see a new Sakurai project in the Switch 2 Direct.
Has he worked on other games than Smash? I'm
Yes,
a
he
little.
made he made Kid Icarus Uprising on the 3DS.
Oh, oh, that'd be huge if we got a new Kid Icarus.
Yeah.
I really liked the one on the 3DS.
Hey, you could use the mouse mode with Kid Icarus.
I could see it. That would be huge.
For Talon, who doesn't know what Kid Icarus on 3DS was, basically it's like a what do you call him? Like a bullet hell, but in 3D, and you aim by using the touch screen on the bottom screen of the 3DS. Also, for anyone that doesn't know what Kid Icarus is, because it's not a very popular series,
Yeah,
kind of going
it
with
basically
people who are
only
only known for like in Smash. How many people have
it,
played
it,
Kid Icarus but like know who Pit is in Smash Bros?
it basically only got into Smash because of Sakurai, is my understanding.
Yeah, I think Sakurai, because Pit was introduced in Brawl, and after making Brawl, Sakurai was like, I like Pit, I want to make a new game with Pit, and so he made Kid Icarus Uprising.
And it slapped.
So yeah, for Sakurai, we could either see a new Kid Icarus remade version or something completely new. We never know with Sakurai.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to the Switch 2 Direct,
Hmm.
what? How much of it do you think is actually going to be focused on new games? Because they have to show a lot in the Switch 2 Direct.
I don't think there'll be a lot. Like I think we've already heard about Mario. So maybe Mario Kart. So maybe we'll get like more of an expanded look on Mario Kart. Um but I think maybe like two other games just to show like the launch day like big games that they're putting out. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think they have a lot to show about the hardware because a lot of the stuff we know about it, we only know from leaks. Nintendo hasn't said a lot. So like they're going to have to detail the mouse mode and like the magnetic Joy-Con stuff. So that doesn't
Yeah,
really, and they're obviously going to have to detail the release date and the price. We'll get to the price in a second.
and like I'm assuming like the specs as well.
Maybe Nintendo's never really
And
been one to talk specs.
that's true. But I could see them talking about UI.
Oh yeah, like the home screen and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And talking about that new button.
The fabled new button.
Yeah.
I think okay, so the Switch 2 is rumored to have about the power of a PS4 or PS4 Pro, so that obviously opens the door for a lot of third-party games. So I'm kind of
Hmm.
wondering what third-party games do you think might come to the Switch? For me personally, I've got like two that I can think of right off the bat is like Elden Ring and maybe the new Elden Ring multiplayer game that's coming out, and NetEase Games, the developer of Marvel Rivals, has stated that they are talking to Nintendo about potentially bringing the game to Switch 2.
I don't
Ooh,
know if that
that
would
that
go
would be
so
fun.
well. Just
You know,
What do you?
Just solely based on the fact that Marvel Rivals in the past has had severe performance issues, and based on how the Switch 1 wasn't exactly known for its processing power, I don't necessarily trust the Switch 2 to be able to run Marvel Rivals.
you don't think so?
I don't think so.
Hmm,
Even
I
Overwatch
think
What?
it's
was too much
plausible.
for my Switch 1. I tried it
Well,
once.
yeah, but this isn't gonna be like the Switch One anymore. Like
I
they're
think it's
upping the
going to be
specs.
similar though in terms of specs.
Well,
There'll probably be some improvements for sure, but I don't think it's going to be like a massive massive upgrade.
let's put it
I
this
think
way:
it will be because
it's been
like the
eight
Switch One
years.
came out 8 years. Yeah,
Yeah, 8 years ago. They've been in the lab for a while with the Switch 2.
yeah.
Potentially.
But yeah,
Thinking
obviously
of
we'll have to see.
third-party games, I guess I'm just like not well versed in like what are third-party games.
In terms of Switch, it'd just be anything that's not made by Nintendo.
Uh, to bring a, I will say something I'd love to see, and maybe it will happen because it's something that just happened on Switch One, but is a lot more Yakuza games on Switch Two.
Okay, yeah. If you don't know, well, I should just say this outright. Peyton and I are major Yakuza fans. The series,
Yep.
so we will probably make multiple references to Yakuza throughout the course of this show.
Yeah, for sure. And if you didn't know, recently, I think earlier, or it was in 2024, they put out uh, Yakuza Kiwami, a remake of the first Yakuza game, onto Switch One, which is the first time a Yakuza game has ever been on a Nintendo console, and so it makes me pretty like optimistic for seeing
Okay,
Yakuza games on
I'm gonna go
Switch.
full nerd mode, but technically that's not true.
Oh yeah,
In Japan only, on the Wii U, there was a remastered version of Yakuza 1 and 2 from the PS2. It wasn't Yakuza Kiwami or Yakuza Kiwami 2. It was the PS2 versions put onto a Wii U.
that sounds
So,
awesome.
full nerd mode aside, yes, technically Yakuza has been on the Switch, but never in the West.
Yeah. Um. Other than that, I don't know of much like third party games, but I am really optimistic like you are to see like because the Switch was always kind of held back by its processing power for like big name third party or I guess you could even call like second party in quotations there game makers being able to bring their games over.
I mean, even Nintendo started to struggle with the Switch's processing power within the last like year or so. Games
Yeah,
like I've heard Princess Peach Showtime had difficulties running on Switch with frame issues, and something like Mario and Luigi Brothership has also had frame rate issues for me.
yeah. I mean, I'm one of those. Jarek and Talon already know this, but I'm one of those lucky few who like doesn't really notice the change in frames
He
unless
doesn't
it's
see
really
frame
bad.
rate.
Yeah. So, um, but I will say, like, since I was playing handheld, I can tell. Like, I played Showdown and I played Brothership, and the Switch gets hot. Like, it struggles.
Yeah, I mean, and even in handheld mode, the Switch is locked to 30 FPS.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of this, like, seeing frame rate comes because Talon and I play, like, more games where you need more FPS, like Overwatch or stuff like that, Rocket League.
Yeah. I play Splatoon. That's my only competitive game.
And I think isn't that 60 FPS on the Switch? I didn't see any. I've never noticed any frame rate
Uh,
issues with Splatoon.
I haven't either. So, if anything, the only thing that holds back Splatoon sometimes is Nintendo's online service.
Oh boy, should we talk about that?
Uh, I didn't even think about that. That would be a good topic. Do you think they're just gonna continue the same price into Switch 2?
I would assume so. I think you'll keep paying for your Switch Online subscription, and it'll like cover Switch and Switch 2. That's me being hopeful. Obviously, Nintendo could
Yeah,
kind of scum you into paying for more.
because that's like my biggest um like pro of like biggest compliment I can give to Nintendo Online. Like I don't think it's as bad of a service as some people say it is, but it is a lot cheaper than basically everyone else's online service.
Yeah, I think like PSN, PlayStation Online is like $60 a year, which I could be
Yeah,
wrong on that. It could be more.
I
But
can
that's
Google it.
that's what the Switch Online Plus expansion pack costs, and you get a
Place
lot with that.
for 12 months of without premium, it's $80. For just
Holy,
essential, it's $80
I
for 12 months.
yeah, you can tell I'm not a PlayStation gamer,
Yeah, that's crazy.
or none of
It's
us are, I should
160
say.
for premium.
Holy,
I play on PlayStation, but that was a recent
but you
development.
don't pay for $80 worth
Yeah,
of. I think
the
that's
only
just like
online
a.
game I play is free. You don't need online PSN for it. So
I think that's just like a bad thing in general, but something we've been standardized to is paying for online on
yeah, it's
consoles.
crazy, right? Like,
Like,
imagine you'd have to pay online to play on your laptop. That'd be crazy.
yeah, I mean, we've just become so accustomed to it, and it's all Xbox's fault.
Pretty much.
I'm also a little concerned with the Nintendo Switch Online, just about the performance more in particular. Because I was thinking about this when we were talking about Mario Kart 9, how it has 24 players simultaneously. Do you guys think the Nintendo Switch Online will be able to keep up with that? Because I know it's had issues in the past with like Smash, Super Mario Maker, and just poor performance.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I've definitely experienced that with Smash and even Mario Maker when I played online for a little bit. With Mario Kart though, it's probably one of the best online games on the Switch. I haven't had very many issues with it, but yes, it is. It still does have issues, and with 24 players, if they don't like upgrade their servers or whatever, I think the main problem is they don't run their servers locally.
For sure.
They're run through Amazon Web Service, I believe, because I remember. I don't know if you remember this, Talon, but when we were in high school, competing in Smash Bros, there was a day we couldn't play because the Amazon servers were down.
I do remember that, yes.
Really?
Yeah, so maybe if they run them locally, that might fix the issue. But then again, Nintendo doesn't have a lot of experience with that.
Yeah. I mean, this is Nintendo's first ever online service, as I understand.
Yeah, the first one you've had
The
to pay
big boys
for.
have been, yeah, the big boys have been playing in the mud since I think PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox.
You had to pay for online on the original. I thought Xbox Live wasn't a thing until the 360.
Hold on, let me double check my, because I thought it was invented for Halo basically.
We've got the second Google of the episode.
Yeah, it was first made available on the original Xbox console November 15th, 2002.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I don't know, was it? Hmm. I'm just gonna see if
Okay, while he's looking that up, what are Talon? What do you think about price and release date?
I think the price will be higher than that of the Switch 1 for sure. I know that was around $300. So I'm guessing it'll probably be either 349.99 or 399.99. I don't think Nintendo would go any higher than that. Maybe they will on release and then drop the price a little more after a month or two, but I don't think they'll do that probably. I think it'll just be probably the 399.99.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. The Switch OLED was $350, so if you're going based on that, if this is more powerful than a Switch OLED, bigger than a Switch OLED, I'd say 400 is probably where it's going to be at.
Yeah, maybe even 450 is possible then. Because I know they're not going to go with 300 as the price, just inflation and everything. Um, so yeah, probably 400 is most likely. 450 might be on the table.
I could see 400 for sure. Um, I think if it was 500, people would be very unhappy.
Yeah, that's what the Series X and the PS5 are, is 500, I believe.
Yeah, and I don't think that like as cool as the Switch 2 is for me, I don't think it like stands up to those consoles, at least in sense of power. Um, but and like how much is a or how much is a Steam Deck as well? So
Steam Deck, I think, is 300.
Steam Deck. Um,
But that it like depends on which version of the Steam Deck you get, because you can get like there's a Steam Deck OLED, there's a regular Steam Deck, and then the price varies off of how much storage it has. And actually,
a
speaking of
normal
this, okay,
a
go.
normal Steam Deck is $400, just to
Okay,
confirm.
so it's more expensive than I thought. But that's also like another topic, is like, does the Steam Deck put pressure on the Switch 2, since it is inherently a competitor?
Yeah, I think especially with the design we can see with how the Switch 2 is going, they were taking notes from the Steam Deck because they realized, hey, like these like handheld consoles that like PCs are doing. I can't remember of the name of them, but there was this one. It has like white looking weird Joy Cons.
Oh,
Um,
the ROG Ally, Asus ROG. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, something like that. And then
I'm
the
not
Switch and
too versed in these.
the Steam Deck as well. So you can see that like I think Nintendo will still be king probably. Like they always have been with handhelds, but um they're understanding their competition and looking at what they're doing, and I think it also informed the design of Switch 2.
Yeah, my opinion on this is that mostly everyone who wants a Steam Deck probably has a Steam Deck by this point,
Sure.
and like something like the Steam Deck doesn't really appeal to like a mass audience. Like if I go and, let's say I just go and ask my mom, "Hey, do you know what a Steam Deck is, or do you know what an Asus ROG Ally is?" The average person's not going to know what that is.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you tell someone, "Oh, hey, there's a Switch 2," most people know what the Switch is. They see Switch
Yeah.
2, they probably will be able to interpret what that means.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any opinion on that, Talon?
Um, I think I just have a similar opinion to you guys there.
Okay, as we're kind of getting close to the end here, actually, when do you think this is going to release?
Um I I will say I don't think it's going to release the day after the direct. Somebody told me
Yeah,
it would.
that would be
somebody
crazy.
said somebody said that they heard a rumor that factories are ready to like ship them out the day after the direct or whatever, and they're not gonna do that. And I thought that was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard.
I think that would be
Because
the dumbest business decision of all time.
no, yeah, Sega did that with the Sega Saturn, and it's why it flopped. they showed it off at E3 and they're like, "You can buy this right now." And no, and because they did that, it can it factored into the failure of the Saturn quite a bit. So Nintendo knows of that mistake. They wouldn't do that. But I could see a late summer or late fall release for sure.
Yeah, I think it's very important. Like you said, you can't just drop a thing and be like, hey guys, go buy our extremely expensive console right now. You can get it now. Because you gotta give
Yeah, you need
people
you need to
some
give
time to save up.
yeah, you got to give them time to save money because that's what really drives excitement. It's like, okay, I'm gonna save for this new thing,
Yes.
and I'm gonna get
Hmm.
it the day it
For
comes
sure.
out. But in terms of release window, if they follow what they did with the Switch 1 had a presentation in January and it came out 2 months later. I think it'll take a little more time, so my bet is probably on June for the Switch 2 release.
Pride Month.
Uh,
But that's just my take on it.
yeah,
If they're
I could
following
see a June
precedent.
release.
I think
Yeah, I could see a
probably
June
mid June
release.
is a safe estimate. Maybe pushing early June in my mind, late May, but around mid June is probably the safest bet.
I Yeah, I could definitely see a summer release for sure. And then once
I
the
think,
holidays hit, they'll be probably putting out more games, and then more Switch 2s would be sold around then.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. They always have their big holiday release.
Yeah, like I think Mario Odyssey was the big holiday release back in the first year of the Switch.
Yeah, that came out at the end of October, I think, maybe middle of October. And then in
Yeah.
December, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out.
Oh yeah. That game I tried to play and didn't know where to go.
It's peak. It's
One other
peak,
th-
unfortunately.
one other thing I
Oh,
actually
go
just
ahead.
thought of. They probably want to make sure that release window is extremely early in the summer, just so that because most people buying it, or a lot of the player base will include people who are in like middle school, high school, and whatnot, and so they'll have their summer break, and I'm sure Nintendo wants to be able to get that console out for that window of time. So I think
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
I'm leaning more towards late May now in my mind.
Hmm.
I think that was
Um,
kind of a thing with the Switch, but they got it out earlier than summer, so they could really capitalize on that full time frame.
yeah, for sure.
One quick thing I wanted to talk about is what games would you want to see in the first year of the Switch? Like, obviously, we're getting Mario Kart 9, and I know you guys aren't huge Pokemon fans, but there is a new Pokemon game coming out later this year, and obviously Metroid
E-
Prime 4. But
the
what other
X
games would you
thing?
want to see?
Yeah, right.
Legend ZA.
Yeah, I actually am a little excited for that because isn't it going to be like Arceus?
Yeah, real time battles.
Yeah, and Arceus was the last Pokemon game I played and really enjoyed. So, but I have been, and I guess this isn't fully about Switch, but I guess the two things that come into mind is we have been waiting so long for the next brand new Phoenix Wright game, and it just hasn't come out. It's been so long. I think it's almost been 10 years at this point, um,
Yeah, because
since
they've
a
just been
new
doing
game came
remakes,
out.
right? From what I understand.
Yeah, remakes and then finally putting out the Great Ace Attorney, an official translation in the West. Um, and like a lot of people are thinking now that they're done like remake, they've literally like remake all of the games at this point, that they have to make a new game now. And the reason they were doing that was because during COVID there was like a huge spike of people who started playing and became fans of Phoenix Wright. So people are like they're putting out the remakes so all the new fans can play them and know what's going on for the next game, which kind of makes sense. Um, and there was a second game that I would like to see on Switch, but oh, a new Fire Emblem game would be nice,
Yes,
but I
I
don't
was
know
going to bring that
if
up.
that would come out.
If you didn't, I was going to bring that up. So I'll talk about that for a second. Basically, the last Fire Emblem game we got was Fire Emblem Engage, and it's been discussed that that game was done like months in advance, but they waited to release it until the anniversary of Fire Emblem. So they've been working on a
Hmm.
new Fire Emblem for probably a while, and either it's going to be a new game or a remake of Genealogy of the Holy War from the
Oh, that
Super
would be
Famicom.
fascinating.
So either one of those would be good.
Yeah, I would. They did such a good job with Three Houses that they decided we're just not going to make another good Fire Emblem
Hey, hey, hey! Engage is
game.
good.
Sorry, shots fired. Engage is all right.
I
Talon, any
personally
games
What
you
about
want
can't
to
you?
see?
wait for Overwatch 3, if you know what I
Oh
mean.
yes,
No,
huge new game coming to Nintendo Switch 2.
on a
Yep,
more
yep.
serious note, this actually just got announced 2 hours ago. GTA 6 will be released in fall, and it will be on Switch 2 as well.
Oh, did
So
Rockstar confirm that?
they
Really?
just confirmed that 2 hours ago.
Oh, that's huge.
Hot off the presses.
I guess that deconfirms your theory about the Switch 2 being not powerful.
Eh, we'll see. It'll be on a performance mode or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
there,
huge.
yeah, that goes into our big third-party games. I should have mentioned that.
Yeah. When's the release date? Oh, do we actually have a release date for
It
GTA
just
6 yet, or
says
is it
fall
still?
2025.
So yeah,
Gotcha.
sometime at the end of this year.
Yeah, I'd assume
Yeah, that'll be
probably
huge.
closer to November because then people will just save up for Christmas for it or something like that.
Hmm.
I'd definitely try the Switch 2 version just to see like how it is, because that's a huge game to
Yeah,
come to Switch 2.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's gonna be a demanding game too.
I probably won't
In terms of
play it just because I'm not into the GTA franchise, but I can see a lot of people being excited for that.
yeah, I mean, fair enough. I've never really been into GTA, but obviously with the popularity of GTA 5 and the hype for GTA 6, it'd be very interesting to try it out.
Yeah, I've never like all three of us. I think have never been GTA fans, but I would just because of the hype, I'd want to see what it's all about.
In terms of first party, I think we definitely see a new 3D Mario, probably
Oh,
as the
for
holiday
sure.
title, because we haven't had a new one. If you want to count Bowser's Fury, sure, but other than that, Mario Odyssey was the last new 3D Mario, and
And
that was
people have
all the
been
way at
asking
the launch of the
for
Switch
Odyssey
One.
2 for years now.
I don't know if it'd be Odyssey 2 if they tried to do something new with it.
Yeah, I would imagine they would want to do something new with it.
I think the time for Mario Odyssey 2 has passed. That feels more
Yeah,
like a
for
Switch
sure.
1 game.
Yeah, I think there's also like two other franchises that I could see having a new game early on in the Switch 2's lifetime. I could definitely see a new Animal Crossing game come out.
Yep.
Um, and then
Hmm.
also, this one might be a little longer, but Legend of Zelda, I think we'll see um, at least within a year or two a new one. I don't know if there'll be one soon because Tears of the Kingdom did come out just what last year, give or take.
It came out almost 2 years ago.
Oh my god, it's
Yeah,
been two
2023.
years. I thought it was like
In
one.
May it'll
Yeah,
be
Oh
two
my
years ago.
god. I'm
yeah, we just
old.
got that 2D
Wow.
Zelda game.
I think in terms of Zelda, I've heard people saying they'll finally re-release Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD. Uh,
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think I would rather have, if they're gonna do a remake, I would rather do like a fully redone game, like maybe a new Ocarina of Time remake that's not just the 3DS version. Or yeah, just
You know,
wait until we get a new Zelda game.
um, speaking of just going back a little bit, Jarek of like third party games coming to Switch too. As a last little note, I think. Do you think they'd be able to put Metaphor on Switch too?
I did think of that. Yeah, I think with how successful Persona 5 was when they finally put it on Switch, I think they definitely at least consider putting Metaphor on Switch
Mm-hmm,
too.
mm-hmm.
Or if Atlas follows their trend of re-releases, they make a new version of Metaphor and that comes out on Switch.
Yeah,
I
that'd
would
be
love to see it.
interesting.
I wouldn't buy it because I
Yeah,
already own the game, but
it would allow me to play the game, so I would be very happy if that happened.
yeah, great game. If you haven't played Metaphor, go play it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we've been going for over an hour now. Uh, any final
Yeah.
thoughts before we want to wrap up?
Um. No, like I'm excited. I'm excited to see the future of Nintendo.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
feel
I'll
like
probably
it's
get limited playtime on the Switch too, but nonetheless, I'm excited to see what it has to offer and how it pushes the games industry forward.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
that's definitely the biggest thing is Nintendo is on top right now. So how do they keep that status going
Yeah,
into the Switch 2?
because historically, a lot of times when Nintendo's on top, they kind of drop the ball.
I think this ball's a little too hard to drop,
Yeah, kind of like
but there's a
it
lot
feels
of
like
pressure
the
here.
yeah, it feels like the NES going to the SNES to me.
All right. And with that, I think we're ready to wrap up the episode. The very first
Yeah,
episode. I think it went well, guys.
yippee! I do too.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week for whatever we
Yeah.
come up with for the next topic.
Yep.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.